Imagine this. The year was 2008. You received a new game with its firelight cover. It got your interest, so you start playing. A few weeks go by and you try to play the same game again, only to realize that it got shut down. Why? This is the $8 million game that nobody has played. Before I begin, I want to mention that I was inspired by these videos here to create this video, and I will leave both of the video links in the description below for you guys to check out. This takes place in 1995 in Queensland, Australia. Two developers, Graham Edelson and Greg Lane, established an independent video game company called Auran. 2 years after establishing the company, they released their first sci-fi strategy video game, Dark Reign: The Future of War. Edelson and Lane were able to recruit a team for the production of the game, from Greg Lane as director, Greg Borrett as producer, Trey Watkins as lead designer, and much more. The plot of the game takes place in a fictional future where the player is a survivor of their world after being caught in a civil war and attempts to rebuild society. The game received positive reception from gaming critics in Australia and overseas, reaching a total sales number of 685,000 copies and even getting an expansion pack in 1998. With the positive reception of Dark Reign, the company would begin focusing on development for new games to sell. By the year 2000, the team at Auran would soon begin development on a new game, Trainz, with the first version of the game was a CD-ROM being mailed to testers who were interested with the game. In 2002, Auran would release a retail edition of Trainz in North America. The game would go on to be a nominee as the Best Simulator Game of 2002 by GameSpot. Afterwards, the company would focus on distributing sequels for the Train series, such as Train Simulator 2004 and 2006, bringing in many train fans. At the end of 2005, however, Greg Lane announced that he was stepping down as co-founder of Auran and wanted to move on from game development for Auran. In addition, Trainz enthusiast Tony Helium would take over as Auran's CEO, and Helium and longtime owner Graham Edelson would establish another video game company called Never Fail Publishing, or N3V Games, but more on that later. Despite Lane's departure, the Train Simulator series would go on to reach many train fans worldwide and has continued to receive positive reception from the public. However, things would start to change for the company in the year 2007. In 2007, Auran decided to switch development from the Train series and would begin developing a new MMORP game called Fury. The company would set up a pre-release event for the game known as the Fury Challenge. The event ran from September 14th to October 7th to let players experience the game before its release. The event was first funded $1 million, but it was able to receive an extended $2 million for the prize pool, along with sponsorships like Dell, Logitech, Nvidia, and even GameStop. With the positive reception of the pre-release event, the company believed they can surpass sales numbers to their very first game, Dark Reign. On October 16, 2007, Fury was officially released. The main focus of Fury was that there was no storyline or quest to follow. It was an online multiplayer combat where players are matched with other players online who have the same rank as them, along with activating spells and abilities quickly, avoiding a long cooldown layover. Auran's CEO, Tony Helium, mentioned in a statement, "We set out to create the best PvP game on the market. We said, let's take out all the boring bits of other MMOs and distill that down to just the fun stuff. And that's what we achieved with Fury. Fun right from the very start." However, things started to go downhill after Fury's release. Before the game was released, the game went through several changes shortly after the pre-release event. While the exact changes are unknown, the game was met with either decent or poor reviews from critics and gamers after it was released, with the changes made. Many views varied from the game's poor performance to its unresponsive NPCs, but many people were not interested with the game as it was strictly a PvP game. The game originally included a monthly subscription on release, but it was changed to a free-to-play option in December of 2007 in hopes to keep the game alive. At the same time, however, Auran had filed for bankruptcy as the company focused too much on the new MMORPG. The game costed 8.3 million Australian dollars, which was considered the most expensive video game ever produced in Australia. But due to its poor reception and low sales, the team could no longer support the game, and the majority of the staff was laid off. While the exact number of copies for Fury wasn't released, it's safe to say that it was way less compared to Dark Reign or the Train series. The remaining staff members were given a last chance effort to keep the game supported, but to no avail. and on August 8, 2008, the company was forced to shut down Fury's servers, making the game completely unplayable, only 10 months after it was released. Auran CEO Tony Helium mentioned, "To the Auran team who put their heart and soul into making Fury, thank you for your efforts. As I said many times before, we need to be much better than the competition to have a chance of succeeding. We gave it everything we had and history now judges that it still wasn't good enough." While this marks the end of the Fury chapter, who knows what the future may bring. There were many gems hidden with Fury and many lessons learned. Hopefully one day the full potential can be realized in some other form. During the research of this video, I stumbled across a video documentary called How Dark Reign Nearly Beat Command and Conquer by Zaid, which actually featured the co-founder of Auran, Greg Lane. In the video, Lane mentioned that he was uncertain that the game would do well as the development team had never done an MMORP game like Fury, and that there wasn't as much passion in making the game.
The Auran group generally wanted to go down the path of developing that next title, Fury, and I was concerned about that because I was a big believer in the fact that you've got to have people on the team who have experience in what you're developing and like the title you're working on. You know, have a passion for it. Generally speaking, that was not the case for the Fury title. I think most people there were a little bit out of their ground, and they're great people, don't get me wrong, great programmers, but it was just something no one had done before. And so I got sort of cold feet about that and thought, this is a title I don't feel comfortable that we can make.
I haven't watched the whole documentary yet, but I really recommend you guys to check it out, and I'll leave a link in the description for the video as well. Despite the negative reception from the company's first MMORPG, Helium and Edelson decided to focus back on developing the Trainz series, as many fans were worried about the future of the company and for the Trainz series. In late 2008, Auran would be reorganized as a new legal entity called Auran Games, and would focus on developing the Trainz series from there. Tony Helium offered additional income to support the reorganization, along with the remaining team left to produce budget versions of Trainz to support the series again, such as Train Simulator 2007 and Trainz Classics. Once the company revived from bankruptcy, Auran Games would merge with N3V Games, which was established by Helium and Edelson back in 2005. They were able to rehire previous Auran members and continue publishing major versions of Trainz series under the new N3V Games team. Since the merger, the company was able to publish almost yearly releases of Trainz, from Train Simulator 2009, 2010, 2012, Trainz: A New Era, Trainz 2019, and now with their most recent release of Train Simulator 2022, and would go on to receive positive feedback from many Train fans, new and old. While the company would focus on releasing new versions of Trainz, they were also involved with running a Brisbane server for another MMORPG called Runes of Magic. Throughout the company's ups and downs, they were able to maintain a strong following of fans, from Dark Reign to the Train Simulator series, and has maintained the title as Australia's oldest independent gaming studio.